All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful, ancient system for argumentation. But it's not just about winning arguments, it's about making them actually mean something. And believe it or not, this all comes from classical Indian philosophy, and it is shockingly relevant for how we all talk to each other today.
Oh, you know the feeling, right? You're just talking in circles, you can tell the other person isn't really listening, and you both just walk away feeling more annoyed than when you started. It feels completely pointless. Well, it turns out there's a reason for that, and thousands of years ago, some incredibly smart thinkers came up with a toolkit to fix this exact problem.
I mean, just think about how we argue today, especially online. It's often messy, unproductive. It's more about shouting past each other than actually understanding anything. But philosophers from the ancient Nyaya school, they looked at this problem and they engineered a super rigorous, structured way to build an argument that's clear, logical, and almost impossible to refute if you do it right. And what they created wasn't just, a few tips and tricks. It was a complete blueprint for how to prove a point, a formal 5-step method designed to take a debate from a simple claim all the way to a conclusion that is basically undeniable. So let's walk through it.
Okay, this right here is the heart of the whole system. What makes it so brilliant is how each step just logically locks into the next. First up, you've got prachigna. That's just stating your claim. Nice and simple. For instance, the hill is on fire. Then, step 2, you give the head to. That's your core reason, because there is smoke on the hill. Now, step 3 is absolutely crucial. Drishtanta. You give a universal, real-world example that everyone can agree on. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire, like in a kitchen. See, nobody can argue with that. Then step 4, apanya, you tie that universal rule right back to your specific case. This hill has smoke on it. And finally, nigamana, the conclusion, where you restate your first claim, but now it's not just a claim, it's a proven fact. Therefore, the hill is on fire. It's just a beautiful, airtight piece of logic.
Now, that second step, the hetu or the middle term, that is everything. Seriously, you can think of it as the golden link in your chain of logic. It's the one piece that connects your reason to your claim. If your hetu is weak or flawed or doesn't even make sense, the whole argument just falls apart. Everything, and I mean everything, depends on the strength of this one link. But here's the thing. These ancient logicians were smart enough to know that even with a perfect 5-step argument, the intention of the person debating matters a lot. They realized that not all debates are created equal, so they actually sorted them into 3 different types based on their goal and, well, their ethics.
And this really breaks it down perfectly. First, you've got vada. This is the ideal, right? A good faith discussion where both sides are genuinely trying to figure out the truth together. Then there's jalpa, which might sound a little more familiar. This is debating just to win. The only goal is to beat your opponent. And finally, you have vitanda, which is the ugliest of all. This is pure destruction. You're just trying to tear down the other person's argument, usually without even offering a solid position of your own. Sound familiar? Here's a quick test. Next time you're in a debate, ask yourself, am I asking questions to understand better or to find a weak spot to attack? That's the difference between a vada and a jalpa.
So, because they understood what made a bad faith argument tick, they also created a playbook for spotting the fouls. They actually cataloged all the dirty tricks and tactics people use in Jalpa and Vertanda debates to confuse you, to mislead you, and to win unfairly. Remember that golden link, the hetu? Well, a flawed hetu is called a hetwabhasa, and these are some of the most common ways it can break. For example, your reason might be doubtful, meaning it's not even a proven fact itself, or it could be contradictory, where your reason actually proves the opposite of what you're trying to say. And a really common one is the too wide reason. It's so broad it applies to all sorts of things, which makes it totally useless as proof for your one specific claim.
Now, this is a fantastic example of a specific foul called jati, or sophistry. Just watch how it works. The valid argument makes a pretty reasonable comparison. Sound is a product, a pot is a product, pots are impermanent, so sound is probably impermanent. Makes sense. But the sophist completely twists it. They find one tiny irrelevant difference. A pot is visible, sound isn't, and they use that to argue the whole comparison is junk. It's a really sneaky but totally dishonest trick that sidesteps the actual logic. And get this, they took this stuff so seriously that in a formal debate, there were actual nigrhastana, literally points of defeat, things that could get you an automatic loss. If you started rambling about something irrelevant, or if you just refused to answer a direct question 3 times in a row, a judge could literally declare you defeated on the spot. It wasn't just about being logical, it was about being disciplined and respecting the debate itself.
Okay, you might be thinking, this is cool history, but why are we talking about a philosophical system that's thousands of years old? Well, because these exact challenges, bad faith arguments, logical fallacies, debates that go absolutely nowhere, they are more part of our daily lives than ever before. This ancient toolkit is surprisingly modern.
So here's the bottom line. Understanding this system gives you a kind of superpower. It gives you a framework to build your own arguments so that they are rock solid. It gives you the tools to diagnose when someone else is being dishonest or illogical. And maybe most importantly, it helps you tell the difference between a real discussion, a vada, and a fight that's just about winning or destroying. And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. When we go online, when we get into these discussions, what is our real goal? Are we there to have a constructive search for the truth? Or have we all just fallen into a massive game of jailba and vitanda, where the only thing that really matters is getting the win? It's definitely something worth considering.